Hi, I'm Tomek from StorageFreak.net. Today I would like to talk a little bit about basic file administration on EMC VNX. More specific, how to create and manage CIFS and NFS shares, how to access those, etc. I will start today's video with creating a storage pool for our NAS storage. Create some fake loans and present them to the data movers. Create file systems. Configure one or maybe two CIFS servers, create some NFS exports, and talk a little bit about EMC best practices. So sit tight and enjoy the video. As always, all comments are most welcome. Okay, let's begin today's screencast with logging to the EMC Unisphere. You can log into the EMC Unisphere by going to your internet browser and type in the IP address of your control station or either of the storage processors. In our case, it's a control station. You can log in with two different scope accounts, global and local. In our case, let's log in with the built-in global account sysadmin. There's a special account called NAS admin to manage the NAS section, but actually in today's video we'll do a little bit more with creating the storage groups, for example. That's why I chosen to log in as a sysadmin. Once you logged in, you can see the default dashboard with all the systems available. In our case, we've got only one VNX 5400 available, so let's choose this one. On the right section with system information, you can see all the basic information of our VNX system. This one has the block software version of this one and file software version with another numbers. Now you can imagine, why do we have different software version for block and for file? The reason of that is VNX is built upon two EMC products. One is EMC Clarion, which was EMC Sun storage array, and another one is EMC Celera, which was EMC NAS storage array. They create the unified product called EMC VNX, but they still got two different software versions or two different operating systems, you can call. For the block software version is the Flare, and for the file software version it's Dart, which is managing the file access with the data movers and the control station. As a consequence, basic file administration might seems to be a little bit complicated at the beginning, because to actually create a CIFS or NFS share, we first have to have a file system. To have a file system, we have to have a storage pool for file available on which we can build our file system. But for that, we first have to create some loans, so to the block version, and allocate those loans to the data movers, which is responsible for the file section. During my last screencast about basic block administration, I have explained how to provision a storage to a host. In case you don't remember, you have to use the storage groups. Storage group is kind of container with loans and one or more hosts that can access those loans. To actually see it, you can navigate to host and storage groups section. And let's see, for example, storage group 2. Here we've got one host with IP address and the host name, and loons which are connected to this host or provisioned to this host. Well, in this case we don't have any, but we can actually go ahead and connect some loons that are already created in the system. Now, the same situation is in our case. We have to provision loons to data movers, which are responsible for file access. For that, we've got a special storage group called file storage. File storage has a special type of host, which represents the control station. Control station is actually used to manage the file components in the EMC VNX system. So all you have to do to provision some storage to our data movers, you have to actually provision them in the file storage group. To do so, let's create some loans. First, let's navigate to the storage pool section. We've got two storage pools available right now, production and research. In our case, let's say we want to have a dedicated storage pool for our NAS part. Of course, it's not necessary, but sometimes it's useful to have it this way. Let's create the storage pool called NAS storage pool, and let's use only performance disks, for example 10 of them, which is recommended because we are using RAID 5. We have scheduled auto streaming selected, but actually this one we can unselect since we are only using one type of disks. It doesn't make much sense to use the auto streaming in this case. Let's go ahead and click OK. Initiate pool operation, yes. It's going in the background and usually it takes up to a couple of minutes. Sometimes if the pool is really big, it might take a little bit longer. But actually you can close or minimize the window and just continue with another steps. In our case, the storage pool is almost ready. Okay, as you can see it, we have it here. What is important to notice, this one is only RAID 5 type because we are using only one type of RAID for the whole storage pool. For example, production storage pool has the RAID type mix because it has more than one type of RAID, for example RAID 5 and RAID 6 in this case. You can actually see it by go to the properties. Within the properties window you can navigate to the tiering section, and you can see that this storage pool is built upon extreme performance and capacity type of disks with RAID 5 and RAID 6 in this case configuration. That's why the actual RAID type is mixed. Okay, but let's get back to our main task, which is creating some storage for our file section. We've got the storage pool already created, so let's go ahead and create some loons. For that, you can navigate to the storage loons section. Oh, sorry, sometimes the graphic interface is working quite slow. And let's create some loons. We want to use RAID type RAID 5 because that's the one we use to create our storage pool, and we want to create some loons based on the NAS storage pool. That's correct. Let's create 20 gigabyte loons, 3 of them, with the name NAS loon and starting ID 1. Actually, according to the best practice, you shouldn't use thin loons when you want to build upon them the file system. So let's create the thick loons. Okay, the loon creation process is in background. It shouldn't take more than 1 minute. As you can see, the loons are already created. Now you have to close this window. It will not close but it by itself. You just have to go with the cancel button. But actually it doesn't matter because our loons are already created. You can see it over here. Those aren't thin according to best practice, even though for this example you can use thin loons and it would work fine as well. Let's go to the host storage groups and allocate those loons to our file storage. Now before we do that, let's go to the loons section to see what it's already connected. As you can see, we've got none, right? But if we choose the file storage and connect loons, you can see there are actually some loons already over there. Those loons are used for the Dart operating system, the one I mentioned at the beginning of the video. So you actually shouldn't touch them if you don't want to break your system. To add the loons, we can find them either in the storage processor A or storage processor B section. You can choose those and click add. And now it's quite important part. Normally you just go apply or OK, and the loons will be added to the storage group. That would be correct, but the host loon ID would be chosen from the lowest available number. Now it's important to remember that when you're manually allocating loons to your file storage section, you have to go ahead and choose the host loon ID, which is 16 or higher, because the first 15, actually 16 because it starts from 0, the first 16 host loon IDs are reserved for that file system. So in our case, let's go and choose 16, 17, and 18. If you forget about this step, actually it wouldn't break anything, but you wouldn't be able to use those loons. Let's go ahead and click OK. Yes, we want to add those 3 loons to our storage group. And we've got a success. Let's validate those are added. You can see those 3 loons using host loon ID 16, 17, and 18. Okay, we are halfway there. Now let's navigate to another section within the storage group. This section, storage pool for file, storage pools for file. We've got none, but we just added 3 loons to our file storage group. So on the right section you can find rescan storage system button. This one is to actually trigger the rescan of the storage available on the data movers. So you've got some warning that the rescan should be used only when all primary and secondary data movers are operating normally. We've got this situation over here, so let's click OK. And we should get the confirmation that the rescan is already in progress as a background task. Okay, operation is still running. You can actually close this window and check the status of our operation in the system and background task for file section. Here you've got all tasks which are either succeed, failed, or still running. Our task rescan storage system is still running. You can just go here to refresh this window. Still running, and it may take up to a couple of minutes, so let's pause for a second. Let's check it again. Refresh the window, and the rescan is completed. Now we can navigate back to the storage and storage pools for file section. As you can see, now we've got a new object over here. It's a NAS storage pool, which is actually multiple NAS storage pool on our VNX system. The capacity is almost 60 GB. It's according to our free 20 GB loons, which in total gives us 60 GB loon. Now we've got storage pools, actually one storage pool for file available. We can go ahead and create a file system. Something that maybe I should mention at the beginning, the biggest difference between NAS or file and SAN or block storage concept is that on the NAS or file storage concept, the file system is on the storage array side, and on the block section, the storage is accessed via block protocol, so the file system is on the host level. In our case, we have to create a file system, so let's go ahead and create one. We've got the create from storage pool. We've got the pool available over here, just one, because it's not the same storage pool we created the loons, it's the storage pool for file. So we can see only NAS storage pool over here. You cannot see those research and production storage pools because those are not for file. Let's create the file system. New one, for example, and let's make it 30 GB. Now we've got some options over here, but I don't want to go too deep into them to make this video a little bit shorter. Let's go ahead and click OK. And as you can see, we've got our file system, which is used for the server 2 data mover. Okay, so to sum up, we've got already our file system. Now we would like to create some CIFS shares. To do so, let's navigate to Storage and CIFS section. But before we create any shares, we need some CIFS servers that will give us access to our shares from any host connected to this CIFS server. We've got none, so we have to go and create one. We can choose which data mover we would like to use. In this case, we've got only one, so it's the server 2. And now we can choose a server type. If we've got Active Directory domain or NT4 domain. In my case, it's just standalone, so let's make it standalone. Let's give it a name VNX. VNX, it's good enough. Work group, let's be VNX as well. We have to set the local admin password and the interface or interfaces we would like to use. In our case, we've got only one available, so let's choose this one. Okay. Okay, so we've got our VNX CIFS server created with this IP address. We can actually go from our Windows and see if this one is available. For that, let's go with the command line and try to ping it. Okay, as you can see, we've got a response. That's a good sign. Another one will be to access it. Let's open our Explorer window and go for the address. Since this one is not connected to the VLAB domain, we have to connect it with the local admin account that we have created. The domain will be VNX and the user will be administrator, and here's the password. Okay, as you can see, I've got the logon failure, unknown username or bad password. Let's try it again. Yes, now I gave the good password, and as you can see, I've got another error. The user password must be changed before logging on for the first time. So actually you have to change the password before we can log in. Now that's the tricky part, how to do it. The one way to do it is actually to go for the Windows security window, click change a password, and that's the tricky one, because if you change this password, that's actually your local Windows account password, but we don't want to change this one. We want to change the administrator account on the CIFS server. So we have to type here the IP address of our CIFS server, the account administrator, old password, just a second, the new one, and change the password. Okay, your password has been changed. So let's try it again. Let's access our CIFS server. That's the IP address, and our username and password is the VNX. Sorry. Okay, sorry for the typo, but now we are in. As you can see, we access the CIFS server, but there is nothing to see. So now we can navigate back to the VNX and actually create our first share. Let's go to the shares section, create. Now for that we have to have the file system ready. We already created file system new one. Let's make the path the same. Let's make it available for our VNX CIFS server that we already accessed over here. And CIFS share name, let's call it share1 with no limits and no comments. The share is already created, it's the name share1, based upon the file system new one with this path, and it's placed on this data mover and accessed via VNX CIFS server. So actually let's go back to our CIFS server we accessed here and let's refresh the window. And the share1 is available over here. We can actually access it, create some file, edit it, save it, and close. And we've got our test file which has the input. Now you can notice those two special folders as .etc and lost plus found. If you wish to create a share that doesn't have any of those, so your end user will not play with it, you can actually create here some new folder. Let's make it an nested share and create new share. So actually let's create a new one. We call it share2 and the path is file system new and our folder that we just created, nested share, and it's for CIFS server. And let's go ahead and continue. And another share is created with our folder that we just created over here. So actually if we navigate back to the CIFS server, we see two shares. Let's access another one, and this one is completely empty, as you can see, because that's the one we just created. Now we can go ahead and create here file, let's call it share2 file with some input. Let's close it and save the changes, and let's go back to our CIFS server, and we can actually go to the share1, which is our root share, and go for the nested share folder, and we've got our share2 file. So the trick to hide those two is actually not to export the root path of the file system. We just exported it, created some folder, and now we can delete the export or delete the share right here. Deleting the share will not delete any kind of files. It will not make any changes on the file system. It will just delete the share, so people will not be able to access it. Now we've got only share2. If we go here and actually refresh the window, we can only see a share2 with no special files in it. Quite easy, isn't it? Now the last thing I would like to show you with today's video is how to create NFS Export as well. To do so, you have to navigate back to shell folder. You can also access it via storage and here, shell folder NFS section. Let's choose it. And just provision an NFS, just create an NFS export. You can go ahead, click create, which file system and which path. You can actually export the whole file system or just a nested folder or nested directory you created by yourself or your another user has created, and just type here the IP addresses or the host names if those are recognize of where you would like to export the share: read-only host, read-write host, root host, and access host. If you just move the mouse over here and wait, you can see how to make how to export it to the whole subnet or even to the all host. Unfortunately, in this environment, I do not have any Unix machine to show you how to mount it, but basically you can see the procedure in my another video regarding the NFS share created on the NetApp filer. You can find it in my channel on YouTube. Alright folks, thanks for watching. That's it for today. Hopefully with this video you have some basic overview how to manage VNX on the file level. As always, you're welcome to visit my blog on storagefreak.net. With the categories view, you have a nice list of all entries I have created, or you can just navigate to my Storage Freak YouTube channel to see all the videos I have created. Thanks again for watching, and all comments are as always very welcome and appreciated. Bye.